Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page right here at Facebook, where I do a daily live stream. And it's around the card, divination card or the oracle card that I would draw in the morning. It's a place that starts a conversation. And I always say that it's a spiritual conversation, or is it a conversation about spirit? One of the two, right? And it's always just fun to hang out with Star Nations community. So welcome. And today is Thursday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you guys. Happy Hearts Day is what I'm hearing a lot of people saying now, because not everybody celebrates Valentine's. And so, but they'll celebrate the heart. So happy Hearts Day. Boy, we got a lot to do this afternoon. We do. I think we got a card that's going to take us a little while to talk about and to share about, but we also need to finish the show about 10 minutes early, only because we have here at Star Nations, we have a brand new show starting this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's the Life Wisdom with Ed Langen, and it's his premiere show. So I want to make sure that I get a seat in the chat room. And also be able to grab something to eat or drink and maybe run to the bathroom before the next show starts. And so I thought I'd give you guys the same possibilities, right? So see what's going on today. I have a guest here. I don't know if she wants to be on camera though. You know, lots of times I have friends that stop by and sometimes they spend the evening with me or whatever. And they're always so curious about, these live streams and what we do and how we do it. So a good friend of mine is with me this afternoon. And so we literally have a live audience member.
Yes, you do.
So you can chime in anytime you want, Janet, okay, with comments or whatever. So before we get rolling, though, what I'd like to do is to take my phone and I'm going to share and like the live stream. And I'd invite you to do the same. I say this just about every day, right? Is the reason why we ask you to do this is because we end up in the news feed more often, and people who are searching for information, spiritual information, it's a little bit easier to find us, right? And so, what do I say? It's a light worker or energy worker's civic duty. Sort of. So anyway, I'm going to do that. I am going to like it and share it. And I always share mine over to my my personal news feed. And just to make sure that my friends know that I'm live streaming. You know what I did earlier this morning is I did an update on my phone, and you know what happened? They took away all my quick keys. So now I actually have to spell things out. So it's going to take me just a little bit longer. And there we go. And then to please join. There. I think I spelled everything correctly. Nothing auto-corrected. You know how that happens. And you think, oh, man, I didn't mean to say that. Okay. There we go. It doesn't take long. And, and I appreciate you guys being patient with that moment that I take to do that sharing. Let's see who's in the live chat. Hey, Julie Shumway Hills here. Hello, Julie. It's always good to see you in the chat. And Pat is here too. Thank you for being here, Pat. And thank you, Julie, for liking and sharing. It's always good. Good stuff, huh? I was going to say, today actually the weather here isn't all that bad. It's actually kind of mild. We're in the 20s. It almost feels like tropical breeze of some sort. I was actually having to shovel a little bit out here at the Academy. Notice I'm back broadcasting from the Academy, Star Nations Academy again. It took me a week and a half to get back up here. Between the polar vortex and those two back-to-back snowstorms that we had, I like doing the show from the meditation room, but it's also nice to be back here too. Yeah, it's a much bigger room. That's for sure. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is that how the cards got drawn this morning. It was kind of a strange kind of not my typical morning situation. It started out with bath day for Mom, which sometimes ends up being a lot longer because of maybe she's not feeling well afterwards, but it wasn't too bad. And George happens to be at puppy daycare today, so I had to take him there and spend a little time with the vet tech, chatting a bit about George. By the time I got back, it was after 9:00. It was like, oh, where'd the morning go? And so when I sat down to do the card draw, trying to have a cup of coffee, which really didn't work very well. I didn't have coffee this morning. It was in the cup, but I didn't get to drink it. And I'll tell you why, because this is the card that came. And spend a little time with the vet tech, chatting. There we go. It's my own voice is coming from Janet's phone.
Tried to like and share.
She was liking and sharing and had the volume up. All right, so here we go. This is the card that came. Look at that. We haven't had the dragon cards yet. This is the fire dragon. It is, you're going to show Janet.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah. The artwork is really, really great. The Gaelic, let's see if I can pronounce this right. Draig-teine, Gaelic. And I can only do that because they have the pronunciation guide in the back of the book. So I'm learning a little Gaelic along the way. But when this guy jumped out of the deck this morning, there was 3 cards. They all landed face down. And I was talking to my team because I said, remember, Ed's show is starting today, and so we're going to need to end about 10 minutes early. So I don't know if I can fit in 3 cards into 45 minutes, right? And so anyway, I picked up the cards without looking at them, and I asked again. They said, no, 1 card. Choose 1 card. And so I felt, with my hands which one it was. And this is the one that came out. And I sat down and looked at the card to see, okay, so what do I know about fire and what do I know about dragons without looking at the book, right? And I do know one thing about fire dragons is that it's about our solar plexus, our dantian, our inner fire, and that they actually protect. They're very protective. And they're very protective over things that they value. And so sometimes, we have to turn to Hollywood sometimes, right? And so, what is it, Lord of the Rings? The Hobbit's Tale, I think it was, the prequel. They had to go and get a piece of gold or something it was. And there was a dragon that was protecting, and it had like rooms and rooms and rooms of gold. Jewelry and all kinds of stuff, right? So if you take a look down at the bottom of the card, it looks like a piece of jewelry. And at first I thought, is that an earring, a gold earring? But I think relative to the size of the dragon, it might actually be a bigger piece. It might be a bigger piece. Maybe a necklace of some sort, right? And so, dragons, I know probably more about dragons from feng shui than I do from like the Camelot kind of days, right? From a Chinese feng shui perspective, dragon has a lot of energy, a lot. It's like big medicine. And so, they're very protective. And many times you can actually see, they call them dragon lines on the earth, right? And so trying to balance out all that energy, if you have a dragon line on your property running through your house, you get a lot of energy doing that. And so trying to balance it out. And so when I was looking at this card, I was thinking about a lot of things. First of all, look at the top of the card. We got the fire and we got the black smoke, right? Yeah. And let's see, in the background, you see Glastonbury, St. Michael's Tor. Yeah. There's a lot going on with the dragon. And notice that we can see at least 2 of his feet. And the 2 feet that we can see are on the ground. And this particular dragon isn't flying in the air. So he's grounded. He's touching Grandmother Earth. And let me tell you, when you have this much fire, you definitely have to be grounded. Speaking from experience, because I've shared with you guys before that I'm a triple Sagittarian, and that's a fire sign. So I carry a lot of fire. My 20s were not pleasant. Trying to learn how to live with that much fire, right? One of the things I did learn though is that to be grounded to Grandmother Earth helped me to stabilize, helped me to be calmer. Yeah. And so this guy, he's carrying a lot of fire, but he's grounded to Grandmother Earth. Yeah. I wanted to show you a couple pictures here. See if I can get this up. A couple years ago, I was on a trip with Minnie Kansman, one of my good friends, one of my sisters, and we went to Glastonbury, Wales, and Ireland. And while we were in Glastonbury, a bunch of us decided we wanted to go do the hike up to the Tor. Now, let me tell you, this is not a simple hike. Not a simple hike. And so this first picture is a picture of people walking up. Thank goodness they actually have like a paved path now. But it's straight up. It's not like you do the circular motion that is easier to walk up or hike up a mountain or a hill. This is nearly straight up, and it's harder. But I wanted you to take note. At the very top, you can kind of see the top of the Tor of the building. It's kind of misty. When we started out, it was just right at the very, very top. And the further up we went, the more it got to the point where we couldn't even see the surrounding area. It was like we were entering a whole different dimension, different realm. And that's me with, I don't remember who that is. That could be Minnie. I don't remember who that is. But it was kind of also rainy. And so we were inside the Tor. I was looking for we have a picture of me drumming inside. I think I don't know if I can even track that down. I'll have to look for it again. But I wanted you to actually see the actual Tor. And so to be there, it's really tall. It's very, very tall. And so you can see the countryside. You can see for miles from there. I don't know, has anybody been to the Tor? Been to Glastonbury? Asking those in the live chat. Let's see. Janet. I can see your comment. Janet says, here with Neshi today and wonderful to watch the action live. Smith? Okay. I don't know what that means. Rob. says, my advice to you is to find treasure and protect it. The Dragon from John Gardner's Grendel. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And from what I understand about the fire dragon is that it is some would say it's a mythical creature. I don't know about that. I think it's mystical. I don't think it's mythical. But that's just my 2 cents, right? And Julie's saying no, but would like to go. Yeah. We the day that we went, like I said, it rained almost the entire trip. But that day, because we did stay in Glastonbury, a bunch of us went to the tour, and then later when we came back down, it took us a good hour or more just to get to the top. But when we came down, we also went to, what's that called? It's the well, St. Bridget's Well. Is that it? Anyway, there was ceremony going on there, and so we were able to go and partake in the ceremony. And so it was a really pretty setting at the well, and to be a part of that ceremony was a lifetime kind of experience, But I wanted to share with you those pictures that the tour really does exist. And if anybody has ever read the book Mists of Avalon, they talk quite a bit about the tour there, that you can see it in the physical world, but there's another dimension that's connected to the tour. And it's kind of like a gateway there. And I have to admit, it certainly felt that way. Yeah. Oops, got a little bit of a glare there. All right. Well, let's see what Philip has to say about the dragon. For those who may not know which card deck we're using, it's the Druid Animal Oracle deck by Philip and Stephanie Cargome, illustrated by Bill Worthington. And I tell you, I'm learning a lot from this deck. I'm learning a lot about Druidry, actually, from this deck. Because what I knew before about Druidry was about that much, if that. So let's find out what Philip has to say about Fire Dragon, Draig-teine. It's about transmutation, mastery, and energy. So what is transmutation, right? Because we hear about transforming all the time, and we're talking about transmutation. But what is that? Transmutation, and this is how I understand it to be, is that it's change, but you're really changing more than just a little bit, okay? Transformation, yes, but transmutation is like alchemy. You're changing like into gold, okay? Yeah. So you might even say that you're changing at so much so that it almost feels like at the molecular level, right? And so many times we talk about that when we're doing our healing work. When we're removing a lower vibrational energy and replacing it with a higher vibrational energy, that's transmutation. So many times you might hear somebody say, transmuting it to love upon release, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about something that's fearful or something, a lower vibrational thought or entity, is when to transmute it upon release and changing it to love. Okay, so it's that transmutation, taking it and flipping it literally around. It's almost like a 180-degree flip, going from a lower vibrational to a higher vibrational. Transmutation. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. And when you ask for that, when you pray for that, you're asking your spiritual team, you're asking the Creator to do that transmutation. You're not using your own personal energy to do that. Yeah. And those of us who made the mistake and have done that, it could take you a few days to recover because it takes that much energy to transmute. So you want to make sure that you're using Creator energy when you're asking for that. Yeah. And so with the fire dragon, that much fire, that much energy, that's why they connect the word transmutation. A lot of energy there to change. It's going to be interesting how they relate mastery to it. Let's find out. Okay, so here's what Philip has to say about it. He says the card shows the flaming dragon of King Uther's vision. King Uther's vision. All right, so those of you who know about Camelot and the Round Table, you know that Uther was Arthur's father. In the distance, we see Glastonbury Tor. Legend tells of a secret cave within the Tor, used perhaps for initiation. Flaming dragons often guard such caverns to prevent their desecration by the greedy and to offer their treasure to those who are worthy. In the foreground, lying on the rock, is a gold torque, a Celtic neck ring indicating high status, rulership, and mastery. Now, when we turn our focus to dragons and King Uther or Arthur, and they're talking about dragons, usually it's some knight that's coming in to slay a dragon, right? Trying to save a maiden or save a village from a dragon, right? And the dragon usually causes quite a bit of fear. So what is the knight in shining armor? What are they doing? They're slaying the fear, right? Using their sword. And that sword symbolizes so many things, doesn't it? What little I know about dragons. But this particular dragon isn't about being slayed. Because it came from Uther's vision, his dream. It says that Draig-teine brings vitality, enthusiasm, and courage, an increased ability to overcome obstacles, to find the energy needed to cope with life's problems. So the energy to overcome. And how many of us these days, we're saying how tired we're always, it's like, if I could get more than 6 hours sleep, I'm usually really like, I got a lot of energy if I could get more than 6 hours. But so many of us, we're talking about how tired we feel all the time. It doesn't matter how much sleep we've gotten. It's not so much if we're tired, it's how much am I tired? Because I'm always tired. Yeah. Right, Janet? And so what's going on with our inner strength? What kind of energy is being drained? And he says, having the powerful fire dragon, I can't read, fire dragon as an ally will align you with the qualities of leadership and mastery. With care, he will fuel your inner fire, which can be directed and channeled like a laser to help you accomplish tasks and achieve objectives. So basically, he's saying that we can call on this energy of the dragon, that we have the energy of a dragon on our spiritual committees, on our spiritual teams, that it's already there. And all we have to do is ask them to come in to help us, to help give us more energy at our power center, which is the dantian, our solar plexus. Or if we have too much fire, triple fire here, is that they can actually teach us how to manage it. And that's really how I learned about being grounded. I didn't realize at the time that I was asking a fire dragon for it.
Yeah, makes sense why it's grounded.
Yeah. And in feng shui, when we're balancing energies, right? There's two cycles. There's a nurturing cycle, and there's also a controlling cycle. And so when you want to nurture a fire, what do? You give it air, right? You give it air. You know how many Geminis I have surrounding me? I have like 8 people that are close to me that are all Gemini. All right. But if you want to that's nurturing a fire. If you want to control a fire, you use the earth. When you try to put a fire out, right? The best way to put a fire out when you're camping, you put some dirt on it, right?
Okay,
Smother it. Or you bank it, keep the coals a little bit hot, right? She's a camper, that's why I keep looking at her. and so, but if you use water, what you create is steam, right? It will put it out, but you're also creating something else to have to deal with, All right. So I'm going to check.
That becomes ungrounded if it's steam.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that the water. Oh, shoot. My sound's up. Right. I forgot my sound was on. All right. I'm just making sure that I've got all of your comments. All right. I have a question for you guys. How many people in the live chat have dragon as a power animal? Did you know that you could have mystical animals as power animals? Unicorns, dragons. Yeah, we can. Many people do. I know one lady here in town who she practices Chinese acupuncture, Chinese medicine. She's really good. What she has tattooed on her back is a dragon for protection. It's really pretty. But for her, that is a power animal for her. And so she had it tattooed onto her back to watch her back.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. It's really pretty too. All right. So Philip goes on to say that, I didn't draw it in reverse, but there's a piece in the reverse that I think might be helpful to know about. And he says that if the card is in reverse, it suggests that you may be repressing a good deal of anger. I could see that with all that fire. Yeah. Or if you find your energy level is, I'm going to back up just one sentence here. If you're lacking in energy, you may need to ask the dragon to give you a little bit more of the treasure that he's guarding. Or if you find your energy levels too high, you may need to do the reverse. To ask the dragon to take charge of some of your energy, guarding it fiercely, so in the knowledge that you'll be given access to it when you really need it. He says that Draig-teine, like the volcano, can be dangerous, but if the inner rage that has been repressed for so long can be expressed and worked with in a therapeutic setting, it can become a powerful ally. So, how many of us have repressed anger? I would say a lot of us, right? And how do we express it in a healthy way? How do we express anger that we've been holding on to for a long time? We transmute it. Yeah. With all that fire, you transmute it. And as a power animal, the dragon can help us to do that. Teach us about it. How do you master that fire, that inner fire? How do you master?
Flip it 180?
Yeah. How do you flip it the 180? Mm-hmm. Oh. I mean, dragon energy, dragon medicine is big medicine. It carries a lot of energy with it. And in order to master it, there's lots of lessons to learn from it. Okay, so I want take a closer look at the black smoke up above and in the fire. It looks to me like there is a dragon inside the smoke, inside the black. Up in the corner, you can kind of see its face. Yeah. And fire in general is a spirit, right? And so it's alive. It has life force to it. Yeah. Hey, Rob, if you're still in the chat, I don't know if you still are or not. If you're in the chat, I know that you do martial arts, right? Could you give us a little information about the Dantian, about the power center and the fire there? If you could do that for us, I'd appreciate it. All right. I got to keep track of the time. All right. So what I found really interesting is how King Uther got the name Pendragon. And it was from the dream that he had about this fire dragon. And he took this dream to his druids to help him understand it. And so in some ways, they were doing dream interpretation for him and what this dragon brought with him. And what they told him was that they felt that he was being shown that he was going to become king, and that the dragon would be available to him to help him in his reign. And so that's why he took the name Pendragon, because Pendragon means dragon head. And that and it became their symbol on their flags, the Pendragon flag. I know, interesting stuff, right? And so he had this dream. They called him the Druid King. Was that him, or was that it could have been Arthur? Yeah.
They rarely talk about his father, Arthur's father.
Yeah, it depends on which version. We're talking about the movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on which version they show. Because when you see the movie that's more about Merlin, is when they talk about Uther.
Okay.
Because Merlin was actually around in Uther's time, and was one of his druids, and so it depends on which version. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Yeah. Dragons. Let's go to the tour in the background there, because he was talking about that there is a cave that's being protected by a dragon, right? That's used for initiation. And there's also, looks like water. And I can't remember, there is a river that runs by there. And I don't remember the name of it. But when you're looking at this, I just think it's a really balanced, because you got the fire, you got the water, and you've got the land. and you have air. You have the four elements here. But with the tour, and they're talking about it being a gateway to another realm, another dimension. And that's, if you can access that gateway, that's part of the initiation, I think. And I have to say, if we'll have to ask Minnie about this, because it was Minnie and I and Lily. We were walking up, and there was, I don't know, like maybe 10 or 15 of us, and only half of those people actually made it to the top. And yeah. Oh, God, memories. As we were walking up, there was a young man that was coming down, and the grass was kind of wet because it had been raining, right? And he was actually being quite kind, because we were on the walkway, and he got off the walkway and he was on the grass, and he was kind of, I wouldn't say running, but he was walking quite fast, and we could see him coming down, right? He literally got right next to us, right next to me, because I was walking on the outside, and he fell. He slid, and when he stopped, he literally stopped at my feet. It's like, so I'm asking him if he's okay, if he needed anything, if he was hurt. He goes, "No, but I'm really embarrassed."
Okay.
I don't know. He looked like he was in his 20s or so, but and we're kind of joking about it, it's like, it's not every day you have a young man fall at your feet.
Literally.
But it was about that time that we could see the mist starting to settle, and it got really thick. By the time we got near the top, like I said, you couldn't see the countryside anymore. It was like this veil came down. And then we started drumming. Jan Beaver was with us too, if I remember right, because we started drumming, and Jan, I think we drummed for a while, and then Jan started singing. Yeah. And when we were done is when the mist started to lift. Yeah. It was quite the experience. Quite the experience. And I was never really drawn to go to England. It was never one of those things like, what they call it on the bucket list. It was never on my list to go. I went because we were going to Ireland, and I wanted to experience Wales. Glastonbury just happened to be on the list, but I have to say that was a memory I'll always have about the tour. Yeah.
And now it's showing up in a card you pulled.
And now it's showing up in the card that I pulled.
No coincidence.
That's for sure. Yeah. Janet says, no coincidences. Yeah, we don't believe in coincidences. Synchronicities.
Yeah.
Always. All right. So, our first encounter with the dragon in these cards. And I have to say that the artistry on here is, it literally feels like it's coming off the card. And I need to check with Mervyn, because if you notice, the edging on the card is different than the cards that we've had. What are the ancient one sings the songs to the children? Is that something like that? Because he says there's messages, and I don't know if this is the same message, because it's in the Ogham language, which is an ancient Druid language. So we'll have to find out from Mervyn what message that is. Because it's got like two different kind of styles of arrows on it. Very interesting.
At the top of it, the triangle, one being upside down and one being right side up. There's like no symmetry. to the side.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Janet was just talking about the triangles up in the corners there. Is that what I know about the triangles, and I don't know if it's the same in the Druid language or not, but a triangle with the apex facing down is connecting to the earth. The triangle itself is one of the Platonic solids in sacred geometry, and it symbolizes fire. And so the other one with the apex facing up is said to be, it's of the sky, sun. So you could say grandmother earth and grandfather sky. And when you put them together, it's balance. It's called a star tetrahedron when you put them together. Yeah. So there's a lot going on in this card, just like all the other ones. Yeah. Hey, Rochelle popped in. Hello, Rochelle. Good to have you here. Did you have a good lunch? I did get your phone message. I've just been busy this morning. Yeah. All right. And so this is the card that came, Rochelle, the fire dragon. But the other thing that I noticed is that if you take a look at the dragon's mouth, the fire that's coming out of his mouth isn't exactly an intense fire. Not like what's behind him. Right? And so when I first saw that, I thought, so does that mean that you can control what's coming out of your mouth? Just because you have a lot of fire doesn't mean that how you communicate doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to incinerate. Yeah, and there we go again. That's that. I had to learn how to do that because in my teens and in my 20s, oh my goodness. Talk about incineration. It used to be that people would ask me, my opinion about something, and I'd give it to them. I didn't care if it was really blunt or not. It's okay. I remember one time a good friend of mine, we were standing in one of the girls' bathrooms, and it was in the morning, high school, and I was actually smoking in the bathroom. And she's standing in the mirror, and she's, fixing her hair and her clothes and stuff. She goes, well, what do you think? And she had a new outfit on. What do you think? Do you like it? And I said, you look like crap. How mean was that? I could have said it nicer, but when you're 16 and you don't know how to handle that fire, yeah.
Interesting. I thought you had a pack of cigarettes on the table today.
I know. Janet walked into the house, and we were standing in my dining room, and she thought I had a pack of cigarettes laying on the table. Yeah, she said, God, what is that? She goes, a pack of Cools, and I go, no, it's Visine. I said, no, it's a box of. I just bought it yesterday of Visine.
It's so refined.
Menthol cigarettes. All right. Talk about fire, huh? Yeah. So really, the mastery of the fire, because we all have it. Some of us have it a little bit more than others, but we all have that inner fire, that inner flame. And the dragon medicine can actually help us to learn how to master it. To master that inner flame. Yeah. What is Philip? I want to make sure I get the words right here. He says that it brings vitality, enthusiasm, and courage, an increased ability to overcome obstacles and to find the energy needed to cope with life's problems. So even though the dragon is a mystical creature. He can help us with our everyday life. I think that's like way cool.
Rochelle is asking, what's the thing under the chin?
Oh, well, when you take a look at it, dragons are reptiles. And so, have you ever seen a picture of a kimono dragon?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they have it's like a beard underneath their chin. Sorry.
And there's a bearded gecko. Okay.
Excuse me. Polly Joe would say that was right in the throat chakra.
There you go.
And look what we're talking about. It's right in the throat chakra. It's really interesting, though.
Also the forked tongue, when all of a sudden you're...
Oh, yeah. Good one, Janet. She said, and also the forked tongue. There's a lot of beliefs, right? And coming from a Native American, to say a forked tongue, what's the first thing you think of, right? Is somebody who lies to you, somebody who isn't speaking the truth. And yet, this is a dragon that is about protection. So I suppose, that gives us an opportunity to take a look at let me get my camera to focus, what our beliefs are around the forked tongue, around reptiles, fire. There's a lot of people who have a fear of fire. Yeah. Rochelle, you asked the question and you made me cry. Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's my take on this, right? Is that I think that my feeling is that when Spirit brought us the fire dragon, it's our first real encounter with the dragon in the deck. And I think we're being shown that we have the ability to master our inner fire, whether it's because we need more of it or we need to balance out what we have, right? And that we have the fire dragon that we can ask to come and help us to do that, to learn more about it, to be comfortable with it. And like they said, there's no mistake, there's no coincidence that the last thing that we talk about is our belief systems. And like I said, I know more from the Chinese feng shui about dragons than I do about the English or the Druid dragons. I do know that both cultures, dragon is big energy. It's a big medicine. And if we have a dragon as your power animal, you really have the opportunity to learn how to master your internal flame, right? Yeah. There you go. Now, as promised, I was going to end 10 minutes early so that we can get prepared for Ed Langdon's new show, Life Wisdom. And I hope you guys can join us because number one is like, I really want to support Ed in this, right? But what he's going to be talking about and what he's going to be doing is really hasn't been done on Star Nation's radio network live stream shows or the Blog Talk internet shows that we had. Ed is, well, first of all, he's going to introduce himself to you guys so you kind of know where he's coming from and what his perspective is, right? He's going to be talking about the law of attraction. And because today is Valentine's Day, he's going to be talking about relationships. And the ultimate relationship that we have is with ourselves. And so he's going to be doing some tapping to help us remove interferences, obstacles, blocks to self-love. That's big in itself, right? But the other thing that he's doing is he's going to do some channeling for us. He's going to channel the ascended masters that he's connected to, and he's going to answer some of your questions, right? And so his show starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and so in just 10 minutes. And so we're going to give you guys some time to go get something to drink, run to the bathroom, and then come back. And his show is going to be coming from his fan page, Life Wisdom with Ed Langen. Okay. All right. So remember, anything and everything that we chatted about today is, if it resonated with you, I encourage you to embrace it and to see whether or not you're a direct participant in the energy that's flowing today, or if you're a witness. Either way, we're learning something, right? And just to be aware, notice how the energy is unfolding around you and where this information can be helpful to you. If it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings by saying, no, it wasn't for me today. That's okay. Not every day can it be. And not every day should it be, right? There's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow's card. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the daily live stream and card draw information at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, Bama Mina, until we see each other again. I love you guys.